What's up, y'all? Oh shit, hold on. Hey. Anyway, what's up, y'all? Sorry I didn't do this video last night. Shit. Anyway, sorry I didn't do this video last night, but something came up and it got too late. So what I'm gonna do is do it today. Well, right now, and then later today, I will review Matrix Reloaded. Probably like my normal mid-afternoon time. So, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do Matrix Revolutions. I was gonna review Scream 5, but I'm gonna probably see that before the weekend's over. And so hopefully Sunday, latest Monday, I will have a Scream 5 review up. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about and kick off the kind of been decided because I really like Keanu Reeves as an actor. I decided, you know what, let's do Keanu Reeves movies, and I felt like it was perfect to kick it off with The Matrix since it's a trilogy, and then I can just do some of his one-off movies before we get to John Wick. So, and I remember watching the first Matrix. Like, it came out in '99. I was 3, so I probably didn't see it in the theater. I do remember watching it in home video the first time. Now this was 2000, 2001, and man, this movie definitely is one of those. Is a template film like Jurassic Park or like Jaws that, in my opinion, set a generation. Look how many movies try to be the Matrix after it came out. You know, the Wachowskis. However we feel about them now, and I've already said it, I'm not reviewing Matrix 4 because I haven't even watched it, and I honestly refuse to watch it. I didn't need a fourth film. I was one of those who actually, I like the Matrix sequels. I understand they're not great. They have some issues, but I feel like the third one ends it fine. I didn't need a fourth one. I actually didn't. I didn't even ask for a fourth one. So, yeah, I refuse to watch it. So I'm only doing 3. But rewatching The Matrix. I rewatched The Matrix before last night. I watched it I think it was like a year ago with my friend, and even then it still was great. So rewatching it now, it is such an incredible film. The action scenes, Keanu as Mr. Anderson / Neo, does such a good job. He's like, it has the chosen one archetype, but it's done right. Trinity's such a badass character. And that's such a great way to open the film, is that action scene with her introduction. The way they introduce the agents. Hugo Weaving kills it as Agent Smith. Probably, this might be my favorite performance of his. And even though I love him in Lord of the Rings, he's so good as Agent Smith. Every time he says Mr. Anderson, it's like, oh shit. Well, and they do a good job of establishing that the agents are fucking dangerous, like from the jump. So, Carrie Moss does a really good job. This is the thing about this movie too. Lawrence Fishburne is probably the biggest name in terms of cast on here. Then I would probably say Keanu after that, but I think this movie does a good job establishing a few actors. I mean, the guy who played Cypher, Joe Pantoliano. You might recognize, he's the chief in Bad Boys. That's what I mostly know him from. But he does a good job as Cypher, who's obviously turns on the group later in the film. He's hateable. And then, dude, that final act with Neo and Trinity's trying to save Morpheus is done so fucking great. And then that final fight, yeah. So yeah, Matrix is definitely a classic. I'm already gonna give it a rating, 10 out of 10. This film set boundaries, and how many films after it would try to be. Even a film I like, Equilibrium, unfortunately got dubbed the Matrix ripoff, unfortunately, at the time. So, that happened, so. But other than that, we're gonna kick off the review. And then, like I said, later today at some point, I'll probably after this after this video, I will review Matrix, I'll watch Matrix Reloaded, so I'm definitely gonna probably do that after the stream, or a bit after. I keep saying stream. After this fucking video, sorry. After this video. So, but here we go. So the movie opens up. We see Neo, not Neo, sorry, and Trinity handcuffed, and we see at an abandoned hotel. We see like a bunch of SWAT and police. We know where she is. And this is where we are introduced to the agents. I think they do this whole opening sequence is so cool. And it sets the tone. Because we don't know what it's about yet. We don't know what the Matrix is about. We just see this opening with this badass chick fucking dudes up. So Trinity, kicks ass, takes out a few cops, and then we get this chase scene between her and the agents. And then when they end up on a roof, she keeps running, and then you see her actually jump onto another roof. And then they show you actually agents can do that too. They they really do a good job of establishing how powerful the agents are, and it's cool to hear Morpheus's voice for a bit before we meet him. So Trinity ends up managing to escape. She answers a telephone before an agent who's in this tow truck tries to run her down, and then we cut and we meet computer programmer Thomas Anderson, who sells a program, and then we also get his name Neo, and this is where he gets a message about the White Rabbit and about the Matrix and follow the White Rabbit. It's such a simple opening. Going from that, and now we're we don't even know yet that he's actually in the Matrix. I think they do a really good job of building up to the reveal. So he gets a knock on his door. And because he says follow the White Rabbit, he notices the people ask him, "Oh, can you come with us to the club?" And he initially refuses, but then notices the girl has a bunny, a white rabbit on her back. So she notices the tattoo. So he follows it, goes to the club. We get a remix of Dragula by Rob Zombie, which is pretty cool. I didn't remember ever. I mean, I've watched this movie several times and I don't remember that. Then we meet. This is where Thomas Anderson. I'll just say Neo. When Neo meets Trinity and she tells him about Morpheus, and honestly, they have instant chemistry. I'm actually they don't set them up as a couple in this film. They tease it a bit. In the second third is where they go more into the relationship. But I do like that from the jump they have straight up chemistry together. Every scene they share. Then the next day he's at work. Neo's at work. Then the agents show up and try to find him, and then Neo gets a call from Morpheus, and Morpheus tries to get him a way out, but he has to. The only way to escape is he has to basically jump from a building, and he can't. So he ends up getting arrested by the agents, and the agents interrogate him about the Matrix. He refuses, and this scene always, especially as a kid watching it, always freaked me out when he says, "I want my," because Neo says, "I want my fucking phone call," and then the Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving, God, he's so good in this movie. He does such a good job. And tells him, what's good a phone call if you don't have a mouth? And then his mouth just fucking disappears, and it's it kind of opens every time. it fucking freaks me out. Like, not now, but definitely as a kid, it freaked me the fuck out. And then they put this um, like this bug. The agents put this bug in him that basically is a tracker to his location. It's so fucked. And then he wakes up the next morning, next or a couple hours later, thinking it's like a dream. Um, then Neo gets a call from Morpheus and tells him, "You can meet me if you want answers." So he agrees to meet him. He gets picked up in the car, and they basically this is where we meet Switch. The other one. Like yeah, so they remove the bug that was planted in him earlier, so it's actually real what happened to him. Then they take him to Morpheus, and then this is where we get the iconic red and blue pill scene. And man, Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne does such a good job as this character. Like, he's such a good, like, that gives him the background, gives Neo, like, he's like the mentor character type, like, you know, like a Mr. Miyagi or a Mickey from Rocky. Um, and basically tells him that if you take the red pill, that you can never turn back, and that if he takes the blue one, like, kind of life goes back to normal type of deal. Then Neo makes the choice and takes the red pill, and then this is where we kind of are starting to realize the Matrix is a program. And then yeah, he takes it, the world starts distorting, and then he wakes up on a flying ship, and then this is where we see one of the Sentinels. I actually, the one thing too, another thing, the special effects hold up. Some scenes, I'll admit, the special effects don't look great, but a lot of it looks really fucking good. Like the jumping, the fight scenes look smooth. Like the bullet time stuff where the bullets are like in slow mo. I think that shit was done really good. So yeah, he wakes up, you know, in this program. He's been taken aboard Morpheus' ship, the Nebuchadnezzar, or Nezer, I think that's what they say in the movie. And this is where Neo meets the rest of the crew, Cypher, who I mentioned. And then this is where we get this backstory that, well, that he's not in 1999, he's in 2199. In that a war broke out between humanity and the machines, and we get like the way more. That's another thing. A lot of these movies knew how to explain these like big concepts, but not make them convoluted. Like Jurassic Park did the same thing with explaining how they brought the dinosaurs back, or even on a lesser extent, a movie I reviewed already, The One, where they explained multiverses. At a time, movies did not really tackle that subject. So in this too, like Morpheus is explaining, they're in like this simulator, and he shows them what actually is going on in the world, and that they started harvesting humans. We get this backstory, and then basically we get the explanation that the Matrix is just a place to keep people from figuring out what's going on in the world. So that means it's obviously kind of, you can argue, you could throw that and use that now, but it's still done in a way where it's not convoluted, it's not confusing. And I think that's what, unfortunately, I don't know what fucking happened. It seems like a lot of movies now, they gotta go with the overly convoluted explanation and just dilutes it and makes it's harder to understand. Whereas like a movie like this had big ass concepts, but it was made to where easily palpable for normies, but it wasn't dumb as fuck explanation either. They made it like we can understand. And and the remaining humans went to hide underground in Zion. So then we meet Tank, who's the machine operator. He's like the main operator of the ship, and we meet his brother Dozer. Then we get the iconic training scene where Morpheus, Neo gets plugged into the Matrix, and Neo has to now learn. He gets basically they implant these moves in your memory. That part is always amazing to me. Just imagine a world where you can just, if you need to learn something, just fucking program it into you. Like, that's fucking crazy. So we see Neo and Morpheus's fight, and my god, the choreography is so good. And obviously, Morpheus is kicking his ass the first time, but he wants Neo to understand, like, why. And Neo eventually bests him, and then this is where we get the prophecy of the One explained to Neo. Then I think the next scene is we have a scene between Cypher um and Neo, and Cypher, you could already tell that he's hiding something. He's just not trusting a lot what Morpheus is. So we get another scene of Cypher talking to Agent Smith, and it turns out that Agent Smith is basically paying. Cypher wants to go back into the Matrix, and his reasoning is basically the real world sucks. I want to be in the Matrix. I can at least be a somebody there. So Cypher agrees to basically set up the group. Then Neo is taken to the Oracle. And another thing, this movie's pacing is really good. Like, it goes really quick, to be honest. Even though it's a two-hour movie, it goes pretty quick. Like, it's pretty much when he goes to take the Oracle, this is where Cypher leaves a photo, trackable. Neo gets taken to the Oracle, played by Gloria Foster, who unfortunately she was in the second one, but then unfortunately she died in the third one, like before the third one came out. So that's why, like, there's a different actress in the third one, and I thought she was fine. And it's just unfortunate, because you have an actress who you're so used to seeing as that character, and then unfortunately they die not long. I think Gloria died during, like, the shooting of the second one, so that's why she's in the second one, but she's not in the third. So she gets taken to the Oracle, and we see, like, these other kids with these amazing powers, like the kid who can, like, maneuver metal, which is pretty cool. Even the effects for that was done decent. Then the Oracle basically implies that Neo isn't the one, and that, and she mentions that Morpheus believes in him so much that Morpheus is willing to sacrifice himself, and she basically tells him, you gotta make a choice. So after that, so after meeting with the Oracle, they go back to meet up with the group. Turns out it was a setup, obviously, by Cypher. That Cypher asked Tank to take him out of the Matrix because of an accident. And the way they do it is it's explained that you gotta find a phone at this certain location. The way they do it is so, like, interesting, and I love the music in this movie, very actiony. So the police arrive with a bunch of agents at this location, and start shooting, and unfortunately one of the group ends up dying. Yeah, because that's the thing. Cypher's so unlikable, but then so he gets taken out of the Matrix and ends up shooting both Tank and Dozer, but ends up killing Dozer while So the SWAT and police notice that they're hiding because they're trying to climb out. The way they're escaping is climbing through the walls. So in order, Morpheus breaks out and decides to kind of like let himself get captured, and we get a kind of a really cool fight scene between him and Agent Smith, and Agent Smith straight up bodies him. And that's the crazy thing, like, because they show you like how good of a fighter Morpheus is, and you saw how skilled he was against Neo, but then, man, he didn't stand a chance against Agent Smith. Like, Agent Smith beat his ass, like it was bad. Then he ends up getting caught, and then Cypher gets on the tank's headset and is kind of like talking shit and saying, "I could kill you all," because basically, if they unplug you from the Matrix, for real, you die. And Tank ends up getting up and surviving his injuries, shoots Cypher, and Cypher's like gone. Bye, Cypher. And then they get pulled out. Neo and Trinity get pulled out, and then we get this scene of Agent Smith interrogating Morpheus about the codes. And this scene is so good because he's such a good bad guy, and then we actually learn of his true motives. He's not working for the machines. He just wants to get out of the fucking. He wants to get out of the Matrix. Yeah, so the one option is, so back at the ship, Tank decides that the only other option is, because if the agents get the codes, they can destroy Zion and basically destroy the world. So Tank initially is like, okay, we're gonna have to unplug him, but Neo decides no, and he mentioned what the Oracle said, and that this is the moment he has to save him. He decides, he decides he's gonna go in there and save Morpheus. And obviously it sounds crazy because it's like he's heavily guarded, but he decides to go. And Trinity insists she comes along because they have really good chemistry, and so she comes along, and then that's where we get the scene between Agent Smith and Morpheus, like the one-on-one scene. Then they show up and start fucking dude. And then we get the iconic fight scene where they walk in. Yeah, it was such a cool fight scene when the two of them just walk in there and just fuck these dudes up. This is definitely the part a lot of people are gonna remember from this movie. So, and you got that like techno music playing in the background. So after Neo and Trinity take out the guards, they go up to the roof, take out the guards again, and get the helicopter. Then this is where we get the iconic dodging bullet scene from Neo, which is really cool. Unfortunately, he ends up getting hit a bit by one of the agents. And then Trinity shoots one of the agents. Then they get the helicopter. They end up saving Morpheus, but Agent Smith shoots the helicopter, like, which is like the engines, like all, you know, the gasoline's all flying out. So they end up crashing, but they survive, and then they have to run to escape. And Trinity and Morpheus end up making it back, but Neo decides to stay, and this is where we get the iconic fight scene between Neo and Agent Smith. And it's always so cool because this is like that moment, because even before the movie started, they mention that you gotta always run from agents, and even Morpheus mentions the people who fought agents died, but Neo's like, I can't, I have to fucking face him. And we get this really cool fights in between the two. It's so good. Then Neo ends up kicking Agent Smith into like a train, so it gives him a chance to run. And then we get like this giant chase scene while back on the ship. These Sentinels were sent to attack the ship. So while that's happening, we see them like breaking in, and while cutting back to Neo trying to escape. And then he decides by the time he seemingly gets to the door with the ring, he gets shot by Agent Smith, and Trinity kisses him, almost like brings life back into him, and then we get this iconic scene where he basically is realized as the one. Like the agents turn around, they all shoot him, and he like just basically stops it with the Force, essentially, and then he just like the moment that always gets me is when Agent Smith's trying to like attack Neo. Neo is just fucking blocking it, like he's not even trying. He is just like blocking it, like this ain't doing shit. And then Neo eventually beats he beats the Matrix. He ends up beating the Agent Smith, and then getting back to the ship. And then the Sentinels get disabled, and then we get this like one last scene of basically them showing Neo makes a telephone call. Then we see him fly, and then says a world where everything is possible, and then he flies away. And then we got, I think, Rage Against the Machine, which now Rage with the Machine now playing these songs. It's still a great song. It's just they're a fucking hypocrite band now. But yeah, Matrix is a fucking classic. This film is the film that defined a generation, in my opinion. The fight scenes, the story, the way they explain it makes it easily digestible for normies. It was crazy. The fight scenes were great. I think Keanu Reeves' performance is really good. I think, though, if I gotta say VIP performance, it's tied between Morpheus. I think Lawrence Fishburne kills that character, man. Every time he's on screen, I'm just like, whenever he's just giving a wise line, it's just like, oh man, it's so good. But it's tied between him and Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith. He was such a good bad guy in this. That scene where he's talking to Morpheus and about like what his actual like motives are is so fucking good. He does such a good job. And the thing is, he's hateable, but he's also a badass. Like, they really show you from the jump like how dangerous these fucking agents are. And apparently in the new Matrix, they don't even have agents, which, what the fuck, whatever. Like, the agents were the way they like establish them as dangerous and as a threat is done so great. But yeah, all around great movie. Trinity's such a good character. I love her intro. The fact that it's just such a simple, because it kind of sets the tone of what kind of film this is gonna be. So, but yeah, The Matrix is a classic. I heavily recommend it if you've never seen it. I don't know how you've never seen it, but if you've never seen The Matrix, definitely watch, because it's gonna just for the fight scenes alone and some of the gunplay and some of the stuff you get. There are, like I mentioned, there are some wonky CGI scenes at some points, but they're not that bad. But yeah, definitely just watch it. So like I mentioned, this film's a 10 out of 10. This film like set a generation. So I cannot wait to get to the rest of the franchise, doing Matrix Reloaded later. Like I said, I really like Matrix Reloaded. It has some issues, but it's it's like the first one, but on steroids in terms of action scenes. So I do like that. And I do like the stuff where we get more of him and Trinity. I've always said, I think him and Trinity have such good chemistry. Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu have such great chemistry in these movies. So, but yeah, tomorrow Matrix Revolutions, and later Matrix Reloaded. So I'm gonna cheers to this movie and then peace out. But other than that, I'll talk to y'all later. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck LeBron. Fuck